Okay. Which one is more important to you literally in this moment?
So right now in this moment, I really want to wrap my head around that whole storytelling. For example, I closed the deal on Friday. It was my first non-personal Florida deal. She was a sweet lady. We laughed, we cried. Like wasn't a big deal. Like it's dollar amount, but it was more about the relationship. And she was an online lead that I converted, and trusted me. We went through the motions and found her something within 30 days and closed from the time that we met. So my question is, when we are going to do like the storytelling for a sold under contract or what have you, what question should I be putting in to ask myself and to ask and or a team member to fill out so that I can tell a story about the just sold closed?
I'm going to give you an answer you might not love.
It's all good.
Rather than me coming up with the questions, you work on the questions, send me them, and let me filify them,
Okay. All
which
right.
is going to be a conversation, which I'm going to ask you to do in text because you're going to send me the questions and I'm going to, or likely, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions
Right.
as I'm thinking about each of your questions.
Okay.
With this said, like we're not leaving this topic quite yet. I want to ask you some questions around this woman. What is her name?
Her name
Her
is
first
Linda.
name. All right. Never tell me her last name.
No, I'm
That's
telling you, but
no, no, don't. And this is so I'm training you right now to tell these stories. Okay.
mhm.
So never tell her last name to anyone.
Got it.
Now you can always talk about Linda and whether or not you're going to utilize someone's name is going to be we're building the structure now. Okay.
Right.
So whether you're going to use someone's name when you're telling these stories is going to be solely based on the relationship. If you feel like the relationship was good enough and safe enough for you to use the name, you're going to use the first name. If you're kind of sort of on that, like you're 50-50, you're going to make up a name, but you're going to tell people. I was working with a client for the sake of this, I'm going to call her Beatrice.
Right.
I don't know why I went to a name from the medieval times, but you got my
Yeah.
and then when it's like, no, I cannot use this person's name, then you're not even going to share that you're not using their name. You're just going to not use their name. Working with a client, they are, and then you're going to give the what's next, because after you tell who you're talking about, you're going to describe them. So in that description, you're going to utilize the concept of descriptive words, adjectives, to sing something positive about them that has nothing to do with the sale. So tell me something that you said, she was a nice lady, and that's never going to be enough in a story. So my question is going to be why? Why did you tell me that? I didn't even ask you. You started explaining and you threw that in. Why?
Yeah. In this case, without telling to the public, we were talking, pretty much about her husband passing. She had this best friend that was with her. Her husband passed. So I'm showing these two ladies the properties, and they actually reminded me of my mother. You know,
Oh wow. Here we
because
go.
my mother obviously is a widow as well, and so that was part of the times we cried, and we laughed and talked about the alligators and stuff like that, or the non-alligators, because there was no alligators when we saw the property 3 times, and then we closed, and then now all of a sudden there's an alligator there every day.
Okay. Well, that's because the listing agent was incredible. They paid the alligators to stay away. All right, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
what you just did was you did this. Um, so actually, before I give you what you just did, I need a hook. Now, even when we're using heart to connect, we always need a hook. So what is the hook? So now, if we're thinking about what is the hook, we need to start asking ourselves questions. And the first question we ask ourselves is, and it's not a one and two, it's a one and one side by side. It's going to be, who do I want to actually talk to? Who is that ideal client that I'm actually talking to? And then how did this experience with Linda serve that ideal client if they were watching it all happen from a movie screen?
So she came to me from Staten Island. So she was moving from New York to Florida. So
So
that's how we met, right?
So it sounds to me, just you giving me that, it sounds to me like if I'm talking to someone that wants to move from the north to the south, then Linda's experience might help them understand what that journey's like.
Yes. Yep.
There we go. So the hook, I'm going to just play with it. We're going to ideate a bit. Maybe this isn't exactly it, but when you have the transcript and the notes and you watch this, help you build some ideas. So your hook is going to be based on that southbound move. We want to live in Linda's experience. It's going to be something to the likes of, this is why making this content in a timely manner matters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with 12, 18, even 24 inches of snow in the Northeast right now, more and more people are reaching out to me about moving down south, just like I did.
Mm-hmm.
That's your hook. And then you're not gonna push it. You're not gonna slide a hard or a soft CTA in there. You just hook. Yeah, I'm thinking that. That's what. So you're hooking a planted seed in their subconscious mind. That's done. Next, you're gonna do. I have got to tell you about Linda. And this is where the profitable persuasion method comes in so importantly. So now, something like, let me tell you about Linda, or you've got to hear about Linda.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I say you've got to hear about Linda, the thing I do not want to do is tie in to real estate because I just hooked you on that move. What I want to do is drive description of Linda based on who she is. So the nice person. So how do I do that? How do I sort of make a shift but not lose you?
Mm-hmm.
One of the first things I noticed, and then insert,
Mm-hmm.
right? So one of the first things I noticed as I was getting, so it doesn't have to be the first thing I noticed, right? Because then that's very surface level. But we're telling a story, so a story has to have a proper plot, which means we have to have proper context. And the plot only works when you hook me into it and keep me there. So one of the first things I noticed about Linda when I really got to know her was, goodness, she reminded me of my mom. Boom. Now, you can't say that without telling me why. So the next kicker is you got to explain why you use that description.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's where you sprinkle on the flowers, brother. That's where you just sing Linda's song about why she's so great. Or sing the song of the person about why you use that level of description. Okay. Now, after that, we need to create, well, what's the shift storytelling framework? It's context, problem, solution. And there's an add-on to that. It's result. So we're actually updating that right now. So when I'm giving context, I sort of gave it. I sort of added some context with the hook. But whenever you give context, you want to blend or sprinkle the problem in there. So now I'm going to touch on the problem, but I don't have to frame it as a problem like the world's ending. It's more of, Linda came with me with one goal. She had to get out of the Northeast and get down to Florida. And what was really neat is she was heading right into my backyard. She had one goal, and it was to just shift and transition her life down to Florida, where and then insert the pain points, the triggers that people feel in the Northeast, where she didn't have to worry about shoveling snow, and she didn't have to worry about whether the streets were plowed. But more importantly, she didn't have to worry about how cold it was because her bones were hurting. You guys ever feel your bones hurt because it's so cold for so long in the winters? Linda was over it. Linda just had enough. And when she called and we really started to get to know each other, and I really started to understand why it was so important to her. The other thing that I figured out was she didn't want this to be a 6-month journey. Now, there's nothing wrong with a 6-month journey, but for her, she was ready to make that transition. So she challenged me. Now I'm going to edify myself without being pompous. So she challenged me. What we have bled into is now the solution. She challenged me to help her find a place that she wasn't just buying, but a place she would feel comfortable calling home. Because the issue when you're making a move that's as grandiose as what Linda did is home is in the Northeast. Everything you know is there. And it almost doesn't matter who you are. It can be a little scary. So Linda said, hey, how quickly can we make this happen, but not make it feel like it's just a fast, quick thing we're doing? It had to still feel like home. And I need you to know, as soon as I heard that, I said to myself, yeah, I want to do this quick. Yes, I want it to be fast for her. That's important. But I am going to put all my emphasis on finding the perfect place for her, because I know that if we make a fast move and she gets here and she's not happy a year from now, well, then I failed her. I just edified you the whole freaking time while talking about the solution.
Right.
But I never made it about you. It was, I failed her, but really she's the main character.
Right.
So this all lives in solution. The whole video has to change now. All right, let me tell you how this ended up. See what I just did? Full transition. I left from heart and I moved to excitement. Energy is excitement, because now I'm happy, dude. Like, I'm pumped for her. But before I tell you how it ended, I got to tell you about the alligator. Okay. And then you have fun with it, dude. Look, I'm not sure if the listing agent paid for the alligator to be gone, like literally slipped him some red meat or something. But I'm telling you, there was never an out. 3 times we went to the place that she would now call home. 3 times we went there and she saw it and fell in love and just started building out what she was going to do and what life was going to be like. Never once an alligator. But as you can imagine, we found her the perfect place. It took 30 days. She wanted it quick. It was perfect. It's her home. It only took us 30 days, start to finish. She was so excited. And then come to find out, an alligator's been there every day since she bought it. And now this is result, right? We're now talking about result. And what's really exciting about this, I'm joking about it, but what's really exciting about it is she wanted to make a move, and arguably one of the biggest moves she'd ever made in her life. She wanted to feel like someone had her back. So while she wanted to be done quickly, she wanted to feel like someone had her back and wouldn't let her make the wrong decision too fast. I looked at that and said, well, then we need to find a home, not just another house. This isn't going to be an investment property. This is not going to be a second home. This is not going to be someplace she just kind of checks out every now and then when she feels like flying in. This has to feel like home every day.
Right.
And because of the connections that I have here and the network and all of the work that we do on the back end, we did do it pretty darn quickly. That's the thing. We did it. We found her the perfect place to call home. And I'm pretty excited. And it's actually because we didn't just find her home. We found her a new pet alligator. And then end your video, dude. You're done.
You make it sound so easy. You make it sound so easy.
So here's the kicker. I made it sound simple.
Yeah.
It will become easier the more you do. And I love that segment of our time together, because honestly, that should have been on a shift session. Everyone should have just got that. That was
yeah. Maybe we can recreate it. I don't know.
No, dude, that magic happens one time, brother. Magicians don't do the trick again. So,
okay.